Legend going to pull that up, but what do you give away here, Orcs? What do RNG go for in the rotation?
So I feel like the reason for this Sylas pick is because it means RNG on an uncomfortable spot if they want to take Gnar. You will take Taliyah here because Taliyah is a really good matchup in the Sylas. Obviously, the Unraveled Earth can cause some issues as he is a melee champion. And your ult isn't exactly the most useful in fights to steal. The question is, what do RNG take next? Because they could easily pick up a Aphelios, which Gala has been fantastic on. They could look towards the Gnar, but obviously you're given a great ult over to ZDZ.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options in this situation, but I feel like Aphelios would probably be the one that makes the most sense in my mind for RNG. They could also lean towards the jungle, things like the Viego, obviously something Wade does like to lean on.
You know, I just came off casting the PCS yesterday, Orcs, and Yuumi has like an insane priority, so I truly wonder if we get any facilitation there with Aphelios still available as well, but for now, jungle does come through, as you're mentioning. The vibe picked up for Wade, while that Gnar is going to be breezed through him for ZDZ, just has the option of picking up that top laner, which he's only played once, but still might be a simple pick, is hang on, Sivir Yuumi, Orcs, to extend my point.
Yeah, so you know RNG hasn't picked an AD carry. They can't pick an AD carry and a support, so you take the super scaling bot lane, and also you're into a Vi, so the spell shield is fantastic into the Vi, obviously completely blocks the ultimate. AL have a lot of power in the bot lane, and RNG, they have choices here. They can pick up the Gnar and then ban away counters, or they can try and pick half of their bot lane if they do want something like that Aphelios. It looks like they're going to go in this direction. So they'll take the Gnar. They'll probably ban away ZDZ's Jax. I think would make complete sense in this situation. And AL maybe looking towards those AD carries, maybe looking towards that Aphelios and really thinning the pool for Gala.
And back to ZDZ's pool a bit, and like the Jax you mentioned, you know, things like the Camille as well. GP also is most played. ZDZ's not your normal top laner. He is not playing the Gnar himself. He's not picking up Sejuani at all. There's a lot of volatile picks here for this top side, so kind of curious to see where RNG go elsewhere in the direction as we get a Tristana ban for Gala, knowing that he has often played that into some of the bigger matchups in the past.
Yeah, I can understand they want to sort of taper down the aggression RNG can offer in the bot lane. To me, I feel like Tristana's not that big of a problem for Sivir. You can spell shield her explosive charge and really weaken his trades. But regardless, they are, as expected, going to thin out the AD carry pool. And that's the difficulty for RNGs in this situation, is what are they going to be able to pick up in return to respond to the super scaling bot lane? Will they go for something aggressive to punish, or will they match kind for kind with scaling?
I mean, Gala has been an Aphelios, a Jinx player, right? As you said before, the Lucian not really looked at, but the ban against Gala when he's 4-0 on the champion, when Kallista's up the board, now Aphelios too. Zeri, Kalista, like, look at the AD bans here, Orcs, and Gala's like, what do I have left?
Yeah, there's still some fringe picks. There's still, I mean, technically Senna's still available, which they could bring out, although not sure if they really want to win this situation. You can see him hovering up a bunch of champs here. Really can just be a curveball, right? You can take something like the kog'maw here if you really wanted to, and it would trade very well into the Sivir in the laning phase. So looks like they are going to go in that direction. Expectation on the back of this is you're going to have Lulu as that last pick. Cog Lulu is just that tried and true combo, and they clearly want to have that pressure in lane, but still scale up excellently.
Well, I mean, I love seeing a kog'maw, especially when you have a lot of wombo in the mix as well. For Gala, we know that he wants something alongside him. Orcs, Lulu's still available. Feels like for Ming here, he's just going to wait for his options. While for anyone's legend, I mean, Xiaohao is such an aggressive jungler. The Xin Zhao would sit nicely. What else here, Orcs, as we get the Xin Zhao locked in? Top side for ZDZ might be standard this time.
Yeah, so Gnar is going to have pressure in the matchup, but we've seen times where Gwen has been able to weather the storm, and she's just such a monster in the later stages of the game, right? So much power between the Xin Zhao and the Gwen as well to, you know, negate damage with the immunity from the Gwen, with the ultimate from the Xin Zhao, really allows AL just to charge forwards and try and get on top of Gala. And it does look like they are going to lock that Gwen in. And then RNG, this has to be a Lulu in my mind. I don't see any other direction. The synergy between these two is a bit of a no-brainer.
I mean, Ming is someone who, you know, has played many an enchanter. No Lulu this split, but if he picks it up, it would be his 12th unique pick in the support role. They're still hovering. Ming thinking about it. Oh, that face. Does Ming not want to play Lulu? To be fair, I don't want to play Lulu.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. There's no way it's not the Lulu.
Well, I'm glad it is, Orcs. Maybe just about playing it as RNG lock it in. Now, we do have a lot of early mobility on RNG. Start me off with them, because when you have scaling in the bottom side, I'm wondering about transition here and what you think of the draft.
Yeah, so I feel like, the Cog Lulu makes sense into the Sivir Yuumi. You're going to have a lot of trading power early. And the mid-game spike is going to be really hard to deal with because kog'maw, a lot of AD carries need to get to like 4 items before they can reliably shred through tanks. kog'maw can do it at 2. You can just absolutely massacre through bulkier targets. Yep. And it's kind of important that we have this Gwen's and Zhao because, you need that immunity to be able to survive the damage. If they get Gala ahead, they play around and they have a lot of control, right? You have the Vi, the Gnar who can take down high priority targets. You have the Taliyah who can peel for him. They kind of just want to function in that front to back, right? Just have kog'maw just be this big beefy pick who can just take down any threats that come near him. I feel like has to be the play for RNG.
And of course, as we look behind you, Xiaohu is not an Gnar mid, folks. I mean, that is just a bug on the layout there. Is we are back in the stage, Orcs. We didn't get to say it, but we are back in the arena. There you go. Xiaohu is actually the Taliyah in the mid lane. And finally, the players on stage, there is no audience, but here in week 9, just getting that vibe with players gearing up in the same area feels so good to watch as RNG and Anyone's Legend try and juke it out for this upcoming playoffs. RNG already secure, but a top 2 position looking very likely when this team can still reach 14 and have an easy schedule to do so. For Anyone's Legend, they're outside the cusp right now. 7 wins, but their schedule includes RNG, JDG, EDG, top esports. I would not wish that on anyone. It's like putting them in an electric chair and hoping the fuse blows out at this point, Orcs. It's dangerous, but for Anyone's Legend, they've surprised us before. We finally get into game between RNG and Anyone's Legend. We have a cute doggy on the Rift, and we have a pretty important matchup that is going to lead us to potential playoffs for Anyone's Legend or RNG to further get closer at securing first. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. You're all rewarded for waiting so patiently. As Anyone's Legends start with the bottom brush bait, but they will not get the bait in for RNG and Orcs. You were talking a little bit about getting Gala ahead here, the priority on this RNG bottom side, while also mentioning people like Betty, ZDZ, scaling elements there where side lane threat seems to also be an issue if RNG get later into the game.
I mean, we want to see, these side lanes from AL get to the later stages if they're going to come out ahead. We actually even see Betty go the Ghost, which I kind of like here. But if you look at the summoners, right, you have Ghost, which is a team fighting summoner. That's not a laning summoner. You have Exhaust and Heal on QiuQiu, the defensive 2. There's no Ignite between them. To me, this is AL's bot lane saying, look, we ain't got any plans for the early game. We're just going to try and scale up, which I think is the right call. But we'll have to see if they're able to do that or if it does mean RNG are able to succeed in that regard. We have Cleanse from Gala, which works well against the Yuumi, but also, more importantly, is going to be able to remove the exhaust that QiuQiu does have when they are going for those heavier trades.
And speaking of runes, he's also got Halo Blade, so quick burst trades here from Gala is already stepping up to the wave to aggress. As QiuQiu dismounts, Gala and Ming push on up. So the bottom lane 2v2 already starts the way we expected it. With junglers on the top side for now, Orcs, it is a red and blue start. With Xiaohao and Wei both pathing towards this lane, and Gala and Ming have got good reason to set up their jungler to come down with early aggression.
QiuQiu has been doing a fantastic job there, though. You saw Gala uses his W initially to just go for a very short trade, and then with it being down, that's the window you can punish. And you saw QiuQiu was just not even attached to Betty, just spamming those autos. Now, Gala and Ming are close to hitting that level 2 and will have that pressure. We see Xiaohu already putting a ward down on Raptors. They will have full information when Xiaohao does pat down there, unless he chooses to dodge away from the ward. And it looks like he is going to walk over. He will not actually be spotted out. But, I guess they can maybe presume if the Raptors hasn't been taken, he would be down there regardless. Yeah. And they do also have a ward, if you notice, on the Tri-Brush now. So he's not really able... There is one angle he could maybe... No, I think he'd get caught on that ward around Raptors. So there's no way for him to leave his jungle without being spotted.
Unless he goes through the lane the long way, you're right. It's going to be hard to look at while Wei is on this bottom side as well. As we look at the 2v2, I mean, Halo Blades again, Ignite down. Betty low as QiuQiu also going to burn the heal. So 2 summoners for 1 RNG trade favorably.
Yeah, and you've just got to be so cautious. Once that level 2 is hit and Ming can buff up Gala, you can be so threatening. Don't even actually have the W yet. Now it's available. Gala's going hard.
I mean, level 3 hit. QiuQiu going to absorb the rest of the damage. Might not matter as the Yuumi, but if you look at jungle, Wei and Xiaohao are battling it out with Xiaohao winning that said trade. Going in deep, and Orcs we didn't get to see, but I believe it was the security of blue buff that actually went away.
Yeah, Wei, you know, he's got his camps. He was able to get what he wanted. But unfortunately, Scuttle's going to be taken on the bot side. So he's now actually looking for a gank here. Has avoided that ward. But I feel like AL's bot lane are already going to be playing so safe. I don't expect this to work. They have pushed the wave in. We'll see if RNG up to freeze that one. But AL will go for the reset here. And if you look, I think they are trying to make that freeze happen. Wei obviously moving down there means he's not going to be able to take this top Scuttle. And Xiaohao will just sweep that one up.
And get the topside Scuttle and maybe move to topside as well. I mean, Breathe is pushed out, but as Xiaohao wings it around, Xiaohu might be in trouble as Forge with the absconded duck. Gonna connect. Xiaohu might need to burn the flash, but waiting patiently. He doesn't use it until it's too late, or rather almost too late. Forge burns his own, and it's a close call, but well held from the mid laner of RNG.
This seismic shove there was massive because he actually knocked Xiaohao, so the wind become lightning didn't connect. That extra damage, you know, 2 points not already. It was one of the things that broke Zhao back in the meta was the buff to it. Certainly would have taken him down. So Xiaohu just surviving there. We'll be able to clear out this way. We'll be able to reset. And all in all, right, flash from Forge, flash from Xiaohu. That is a good trade for RNG. The fact that this gank happens and you trade 1-for-1 in summoners, you both reset and TP back in, you'll take that.
Plus, you have Unsealed Spellbook as well, right? So we'll get to the point where some of those trades will be less meaningful because Xiaohu will be able to sub out Orcs. I think another big thing I want to pull out is that we do have junglers up on the same side of the map again, but that vision control from RNG is where I want to land because right again, around that blue buff, RNG are prioritizing tracking Xiaohao to the death.
Yeah, and I think it's important, right? The power of this Zhao and the skirmishes. The Vi is good at setting up ganks, right? You have that immediate power if you land the Q. But if you do get stuck in melee range, this Zhao, he will become problematic in those extended trades, utilizing the passive and the knock-up at his 3-talent strike. And to be honest, you know, look at this bot lane. Betty and Chocho, they did be in that early summoner. The Ignite is back up for RNG. But what they've been doing really well is whenever Gala pops his W and goes for an aggressive trade, Chocho just speeds Betty up. Betty also tries to get a spell shield out because that does give you the passive movement speed. And they just run away. They're like, nope, you popped your W, we're disengaging. But they're going to have to try and disengage from this.
But Xiaohu's already level 6. Forge is coming down, but he hasn't stolen the Weaver's Wall. So as Xiaohu lands here, even without Flash, it's going to depend on if he sets the trigger into motion. However, at the moment, with Zhao getting spotted out and Wei on the wrong side, it looks like the play is negated in the nick of time.
Yeah, so good defense there. I'm not sure how intentional it was from Xiaohao, but now they're looking.
Vault Breaker's going to get him as well. Hasn't stolen the ulti yet. Maybe needs one off of Wei as the Ignite's already enough. Wei's lens gets first blood as Xiaohao spots the RNG bottom lane moving into a brush, but the Ignite triggered on down. Gala's damage still enough as Ming survives too. And now Dragon's going to be started with RNG pulling the gold trade.
Yeah, and it's a Hex Tech Dragon as well. A pretty strong boost early, getting that attack speed, getting that ability haste. Can really, especially for the kog'maw, right? It's 6% attack speed. Definitely a nice boost to get and to start building towards that soul. But yeah, it's a nice gank coming out from Wei there. And I think the big thing is like how well he used the sweeper. One of the things, if you ward over a wall, information goes to both sides. But because he uses the sweeper here, he knows that Forge is here and Forge has no information in return. The control ward in the brush means that RNG know that they can't be countered. And it's just an easy pickup. You land the CC, you chain it with a Taliyah, nothing the Sylas can do.
That smooth play gets Wei the first kill of the game as well. Corfield's Warhammer going to be Chempunk first, and we've talked about it so many times. The gold value on Chempunk is just so worth it, especially Orcs when you're going up against a Yuumi, Sylas, Gwen. Zhao as well with healing in his kit. I think worth cannot begin to describe it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's the fact that like this is the build we've seen on Vi recently. It's kind of being like you build the Chempunk Chainsword first for that instant stat spike, the extra AD in your abilities, and then you go into like a tank mythic, particularly Sunfire's being the popular one, because, you know, Sunfire's is really strong at the moment. We've been talking a little bit about how obviously 12-14 is the patch we're seeing in solo queue that is live. We're still on 12-13. Both Chempunk Chainsword and Sunfire have been nerfed on that new patch, and this Vi is going to abuse both of them, both in a very powerful position right now. And we do see, to go back to what's happening on the map, AL have started up this Herald, but Wei has spotted out Xiaohao, and you see the solo lanes from AL instantly collapse. They know they have to defend this.
I mean, Forge doesn't have an ulti to steal. Wei still has his assault and battery as Xiaohao zones him out, and the Herald is just going to be let go while the bottom lane should be able to find a plate here in response. which might mean more worth. So we'll see how much Gala and Ming can get, but at the very least for anyone's legend, getting that objective when they're 1,000 gold behind is going to be a good test here, Aux, and I wanted to talk to you about lanes to expose with it, because at the moment, no lane really winning in CS, apart from mid going even.
Yeah, I think, you obviously could funnel resources and try the side lanes to get an advantage, but you could also just put it mid and try and put some pressure on a Xiaohu, because you saw him go for that roam earlier, and Forge pushed the wave into the tower, but wasn't able to really find any damage on the tower. You can punish the roams from Xiaohu. If you throw that Herald down when he moves towards bot, get a few plates, and make it so he has to stick in the lane, the threat of losing the tier 1 could be a viable option. We'll see what AL look to do on the back of that. But what I do like is that Betty and Chocho were actually in their own jungle. And as a result, RNG didn't know where they were. They could have thought, okay, they might be coming top. Therefore, we don't want to fight. They already have setup. They already have vision. And then Betty and Chocho didn't actually move all the way top. So they instantly went back bot and they only lost one plate. We often see teams heavy commit topside and then end up giving over a ton of plates in return. And it's like, well, what was the point then?
I mean, especially against the kog'maw Lulu, right? When we talked about RNG, putting the eggs in the basket here, making sure that Gala and Ming get ahead, that would have been just such a rough play, making the Herald not worth it. But as Xiaohao looks for angles, we kind of got to take stock of the rest of the map because we keep panning to the camera top lane. ZDZ versus Breathe is working out for Breathe yet again, Aux. What a surprise that Breathe on Gnar is popping and doing well in the matchup.
Yeah, which is good to see for RNG, but it's not too damning for AL. The expectation is this is how the matchup should go. Oh.
Yeah, a ball breaker in. We're going to see some desist. This one is Xiaohao. Might be arrested in the end as he flashes over the wall. The police stop chasing. Does anyone's legend survive on the bottom side while Breathe continues pummeling top with the needlework flying out too?
Yeah, and ZDZ is at this point where, early levels, you can kind of withstand the damage from Breathe with second wind with Doran's shield. You're no longer at that point. Breathe is doing a bit too much damage to you, but you also can't find these all-in windows yet. Level 9, not really strong enough on the Gwen. Level 13 is a big spike, but ultimately, this is now even more for scaling pick than when it was before. ZDZ is just trying to get to the later stages where he can be an absolute monster and lose as little as possible. So down one plate for now, but it looks like with him having to reset, he could go down another plate as well. Actually, we'll see if Xiaohao gives him... Yeah, I think they're giving him the Gromp for the sustain here, so trying to help keep him in lane. What a bro Xiaohao is, yeah.
I mean, can I just say, Aux? I mean, Gromp healing. Does it get nerfed in 12-14? Do we finally get rid of it? Oh, god damn. It's so much. It's literally like a quarter of your health and mana bar.
Yeah, and you know what? You would never see that in solo queue. You would never see a jungler say, yeah, bro, you can have my Gromp, right? Try asking for that in your solo queue games and see what happens.
Dude, people don't even give over blue buffs anymore, Orcs. Like, third blue buff still denied as a mid laner. I feel like, Xiaohao's been a bit of a bro, but as he walks down to the bottom side, remember that this bro needs to drop the Rift Herald. 5 seconds until Dragon spawns. Maybe to add a bit of pressure while there's still plating available, but RNG getting the river control first, and Xiaohao thinking about where he wants to enter.
He has to throw the Herald down mid. Only thing that makes sense at this point. Get the pressure towards Dragon and pick up the 2 plates. Should just be able to clear out this wave and get it here. But you see RNG in position. If he does miss stuff, he will get punished. But you see they just respond. They're like, cool, we're going to defend against the Herald here. It's going to get the shot. Oh, actually doesn't.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
From way.
And he's got another.
Such a heavy blow.
Orcs, he's got another as well. Wei has a smite for this upcoming Dragon, so no plating going over. And that blow, I mean, that hurts so much when anyone's legend. We're looking to give Forge a bit of that gold. Considering this Sylas needs to ramp up a bit, but Orcs RNG now on the second Dragon. This is going to make things a little bit difficult as we start rolling for the soul. To the Hex Tech, it's an Ocean Soul. Okie dokie. For a kog'maw Lulu, that's a dream.
Yeah, you'll absolutely take it. And there is some cost for RNG, right? Bree's going to have to TP in here, and I think he's going to lose a second plate here. Ooh, does he defend it? The last minion! Oh, it stays up! So close to getting that second plate for ZDZ, just shy of it. But regardless, a little bit of cost on the top lane, but you're completely happy with that, right? You have the 2 dragons. AL get the Herald, but don't even get use out of it. And this is the problem, is Xiaohao took so long to throw down the Herald that RNG knew it was coming, right? Because the timer was so close to being expiring, they were ready. And the fact they all moved and managed to burst it out, it really puts AL in a rough spot, because being down in dragons and being down in gold is like a double whammy.
as you said, you know, waiting for those side lanes to get to a powerful position. People like Forge, ZDZ in this game. If anyone's Legend still behind 1,000 gold, and not the end of the world, but we are seeing some big items coming out. With Blade of the Ruin King already picked up by Gala. We're close to the Everfrost here from Xiaohu in the mid. And the Chem Punk has been picked up by Wei. So RNG right now have relative power, considering that we have a Gold Drinker and Everfrost just picked up. But at the very least, Orcs, I'd say Gala's in a good enough position, right? Like, you know, 2 dragons, bottom side's focused. They're struggling in the 2v2 still. And you know, Gala might not be the CS lead, but he's definitely in a position of power here as he comes across with Ming.
For sure. I mean, AL's bot lane managed to stabilize. It's at the point where the Sivir can just destroy the waves, so there isn't really any threat of them pushing in. They don't have to interact. But here's the thing, was like most crit AD carries, the big spikes like 3-4 items. Those are the points where like you're really strong. Whereas for these on-hit AD carries, like the kog'maw, 1 item, huge spike, 2 items, huge spike. It's like a constant curve. So even now, Gala on 1 item is a big threat, whereas Betty really needs quite a bit more time. So I expect RNG want to leverage that and look to really use Gala as like this powerful tool in team fights. Although that being said, for the moment, both AD carries in the bot lane and second Herald is spawning Breeze. I think you're overextended there. Yeah,
he's got no Mega Gnar as well. The flashes needs to come out early, but he's just obliterated. The needlework's enough, and a big mistake in front of the second Herald. Orcs. RNG now have to back off.
Yeah, looks like they do push a wave in mid, but Betty should just be able to rotate over and clear that one out. And RNG, they're considering going for this one, but, you know, the AD carry is there for AL if they need. RNG have no top lane out. It could even be a 3v5. They have to give this one up. There's no way they can contest it. And AL managed to find a pretty positive play. They may end up losing this tower here in the bot lane. I'm not sure, actually. I don't think Gala is going to be able to finish it. Might be close, but he's not going to commit to it. He's just going to clear out the wave. So no tower lost in the bot lane. And AL get the second Herald. My hope, Hysterics, is that this one is used a little bit better than the first one.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? At least break down that mid lane turret. Pings are going to the top side, so the outer's still there too. But RNG setting up for the first turret blood for now, as this has been one of the slower early games in the LPL. Remember we talked about RNG and Anyone's Legend, these team fighting, these 5v5 teams. I mean, RNG, especially Orcs, they are not these big lane bullies. They're not these incredible laners that win out every time. They are a great mid-team fighting team who utilize map pressure and are quite clinical in their macro use. So as we get one turret for one, now that we get into the mid-game, Orcs, run me through a little bit about how we can see RNG play their standard style, because the Taliyah's Weaver Wall has not been seen yet from Xiaohu.
They can honestly just lean into the Drakes and play for them, right? They're going to have the Ocean Dragon. You know, you're going to have this bulky... you're going to have a bulky... Vi as well. And even things like when you think about how Sivir functions, like AoE ricochets, Ocean Soul can really help mitigate it because it is spread damage over the whole team. If everyone's healing, gonna reduce that. So I think RNG can just lean towards that. It's up in a minute. The kog'maw has Blade of the Ruin King and Rage Knife, so he's in a pretty strong position right now. And AL need more time. As much as they're doing a decent job of mitigating RNG, I'm not sure they really want to go for a full 5v5 now. So RNG, they can use tools like the Taliyah wall, they can use the power of the kog'maw, and just try and force a 5v5, or at least force the dragon and deny away from AL.
As Wei's coming in, maybe setting up for the fight earlier on is going to be the play, but Wei just threatening. Still a 2-kill game, as people at home are wondering when it's going to come through, but Xiaohu with no seismic shove in distance, and now that Breed's moving back down as well. I mean, this third Dragon Orcs, they don't fight this, it means that next one is going to be a case as Betty is going to help himself out. But look at Gala go. That's the kind of dog you want protecting the house. As RNG with another kill in this long game, but that's going to open up Dragon. Even easier than before is Xiaohu with the seismic shove starting to get on point.
Jojo just makes a mistake, and you can't afford to do that against this composition of RNG. So many people who can stop you from being able to reattach to the Sivir in these fights. You just got to stay connected, and they instantly take apart that mistake. They secure the dragon, and now RNG, it's only a 1,500 gold lead. It's not like a crazy amount. 3 dragons in pocket means AL are in a really rough spot.
It's going to be a 23-minute soul. So for Anyone's Legend, I mean, time not on their side, as we were saying. And that pickoff goes to Gala too, Orcs. I could not think of a worse person to pick up the kill, as that baby Rage Knife is going to be evolving soon enough, going back and spending his points. But we'll look at this again, because it came off the back of Xiaohu with a nice angle.
Yeah, and the Unraveled Earth you've got to be so careful about this on the Yuumi, because you know, you dash into Betty to try and heal him, you get caught in it, and then Wei instantly responds. And yeah, you could see the reason why he was going for it, because Betty was starting to get aggressed on by Gala, but a big mistake from QiuQiu that ends up costing them pretty heavily. And now they have 4 minutes to try and be ready for the fight. That's the only way you can really phrase it. They have to be ready to fight for this next dragon, and they have to win it.
All right, Aux. I'll be honest. 3 kills in this game, and the fact that anyone's Legend RNG is still just gearing up, and we've got Dragon to talk about, makes me think about one thing. As the Herald goes down to the Weaver's Wall too, that one thing now out of my wine. That's going to help out, but the seismic jump gets the Herald over the wall, but the smite again, no! It happens once more. As the cease and desist is stolen, but anyone's Legend and Shelly do not belong together in this first game.
And RNG have no chill when it comes to these Rift Heralds. It's so frustrating. AL have gotten 2, and they haven't got a single charge off. You could definitely blame AL a bit on this one, right? Absolutely. Just slam it down mid when RNG are there to defend, not the play. You saw that with the first one. You try again for the second. Very clear mistake, but not many teams are so responsive as RNG in terms of shutting that down. And this has really allowed them just to, you know, lean into the Dragons being the objective to play for. The fact that you have 3 now does put a lot of pressure on AL. Do you see some contention coming around that vision around the Baron? See how that goes. And so the note, ZDZ is now level 13. This is the big spike for the Gwen. 65% of the cooldown of the E is refunded now that it's maxed, so can trade a lot more frequently with the Gnar on this one.
Boys, but meanwhile, anyone's Legend are sick of mucking about. No Herald charge, no worries. Going for the deep play, they've got control of vision. And RNG are pinging Baron. But you look at the other side, Wei and Breathe are like, okay, we're going to go bot side and steal some more of these jungle camps. Why they have a suspicion that anyone's Legend there. However, with ZDZ going over the wall, even with the needlework, Breathe charging over, but no! Wei goes too far, then comes back in. A good cease and desist, but saved by the Vault Breaker. That was sketchy. Huge XD on the play, Orcs, as RNG almost messed it up.
Yeah, nearly an oopsie daisy there from Wei. Fortunately, had the ult to get back over. But ZDZ, you can see now is the point where the Gwen is powerful. Oh, they're looking for something mid.
Oh, God, Xiaohu again. We've had no action in this game, but Xiaohu now the pick king as RNG have no jungler to face against for 30 seconds. Hey, let's just take a Baron with 5 members up.
Yeah, and it's 3 to defend, but ZDZ's up soon with the teleport. We'll see if they try and make this one happen. RNG are in the pit, but this is so hard to approach.
Well, let's see how they go, because with ZDZ having TP, at least there'll be 4 members with the Yuumi attached. QiuQiu with his ulti, Baron's already gone, and Betty in the line of fire. Xiaohu and Gala free hitting as this kog'maw is untouched. Anyone's Legend are looking for the leash. They can't find anything to calm this dog down as Breed cleans up the rest. The Weaver's Wall, fantastic, as the exhaust won't do a thing. Xiaohu's been quiet all game, but suddenly 100% kill participation, and Xiaohu bringing that chat energy in game 1.
Just feels like as soon as RNG realized they have an advantage, like it was just ZDZ goes for the all-in. Just misses out on finding the kill. And that transitions them to make the pick mid. That transitions them to the Baron. They secure the Baron. They get a bunch of kills as well. It feels like you can't make a mistake against this team. We'll see here, Gala ends up doing so much damage. And then when AL overcommit on Wei, Lulu comes out to buy some space in here. Really unfortunate, because obviously Betty has the flash, but flashes before he even reaches the wall. Not really going to achieve anything on the back of that. It's just another 2 members going down. Xiaohu massive with that cutoff, and now the goal lead is just suddenly ballooned to 7,000, and it's only nearly 23 minutes. Dragon's up in 10. It's sold.
And someone died in the break as well in the replay. So RNG now 1-8 here as we get the Vault Breaker once more. Xiaohao goes in, but he's almost dead to start the playoff. As Breathe is going to lose his Mega Gnar ulti with a great one from Forge. The problem is that no one's dead, and Ming with the wild growth onto Gala sets him up. Xiaohu is taking numbers, Gala is taking walkies, and RNG are taking no crap from anyone's Legend in this first game.
They aren't even looking towards the Dragon. We'll see. I don't think they can quite end here. The spawn timers are going to come up in time. They're looking for Betty, though. Actually, this feels personal.
Yeah. The matchup between Gala and Betty. We haven't had a chance to talk about it because nothing's been happening, but as Betty gets crushed by former RNG members. That 13th kill stings deep. RNG with 11k gold lead. Ocean Soul. This one is in the bin, and I don't even think we need a bin liner to close it out.
And here, Gala with a stopwatch buys some time. And then Forge goes in with actually a pretty big ultimate there. But the damage, the follow-up isn't there. And look, Gala just decimates him. Xiaohu as well. The Yuumi comes out. The Unraveled Earth is already there. And it's just an easy cleanup. And something to remember, you know, the kog'maw obviously has insane DPS. Look at his items here. Blithering King and got that Ginsu's. Nearly got the Wit's End as well. But Xiaohu, Taliyah actually does a crazy amount of damage over the course of long fights, right? Throwing those rocks at you constantly. And I feel like you have those thin windows with the Gwen W, with the Xin Zhao ultimate, where you can survive. And outside of that, everyone just gets decimated.
ZDZ, this time it works because he's in the circle. Thank God that interaction didn't come through. Orcs as RNG, give another one to Xiaohu. Remember that Vault Breaker can be stopped by Gwen's W if you're outside of it. I think Orcs, you were casting that, and I molded for you.
It was the cease and desist, the Vault Breaker's the Q, right?
Yeah,
we saw that one where W was popped and it just got cancelled midway. Just a little bit unlucky, but, you know, Wei knows that, makes him pay, manages to connect inside the Hallowed Mist. And now RNG just continuing to apply pressure. Baron isn't there anymore, and yet they keep finding these picks, and they're able to keep picking up these structures. And now AL, I mean, they have the wave clear, but they're just being cut off.
Every time I look at RNG in a mid-game, it ends up like this. Anyone's Legend with a good ulti, good setup, a three-man stun. Finally, they come alive, but as Breed joins the play, will it be too late? A TP from Anyone's Legend as the fight turns back on. Ocean Soul, an absolute pain to deal with as Breed is taking next to no damage. You get Gala, but look at what it cost you.
And that's the right fight. That is actually AL playing it pretty well. But the goal difference is just way too big. It doesn't matter that you find Gala when Xiaohu is so strong, when Breathe is so strong. And they don't even need their AD carry. They're looking to try and finish this game off now.
25-minute game. Two-man seismic shove and bop back into the wall. The bounce out from Breathe and Xiaohu. Absolute diff as Breathe flashes into the rock. RNG don't even chew the meal first. As the thumbs go into the air, as Forge is about to come back alive, Orcs. I mean, Xiaohu's got to get some kills here because the damage is a little bit slow. Forge now coming back up alive as well. The Nexus available as we've got the Wild Growth still with the Everfrost, the two-man, but Forge still close to dying as he's dead. Xiaohu goes golden, Betty trying to kill him, but throwing another rock as Wei cleaves him in two. It's only Chocho up in 5 seconds, but RNG don't care. They've got another lunch to take in the next fight.
They'll take that mid inhibitor tower. Don't think they'll be able to stay for the inhib though. Ming get some damage done just for the time being regardless. But you know, even with AL surviving, living another day, their base is going to be in shambles. And also there's actually a ward next to the Nexus. Breathe and Xiaohu have TP. We could just see a bit of a backdoor coming out if needed. I'm gonna be real, I don't think RNG should do this because they can just fight them and end. That being said, Ming
caught out, flashes over the wall. ZDZ here as well. But you know what? If you kill Ming and you set up the Baron, you know what would be really good? A backdoor now that you don't have a support Orcs. Let's go. Xiaohu's alive. Everyone's at the base. They're waiting for the wave to clear. Betty and Forge are moving out. And even though they're being cautious, I mean they want to do it.
If AL don't come to Baron as 5 members, they lose the Baron. If they do come to Baron as 5 members, they get backdoored. This is a lose-lose situation, no matter how you spin it. And Breathe, he's not even going to TP in the back door. He's going to start working on this tier 2. TP is coming in, though, from Forge. They're looking for him.
Do it in reverse, Breathe. You've got the turret now. Can you survive at the very least? Forge goes over the wall. He's stolen a Mega Gnar used it as they both do it at the same time. Rather, a double stun comes through. Breathe later on. Abscond Duck does connect, but he's taking no damage. As Anyone's Legend is sending the whole troop here, it's unfortunate that Xiaohu's TPing to topside. As Breathe dies, RNG... You know, we all wanted to see the back door. Now not possible. Done it.
There's no TP for AL. They could have gone for it, and the kog'maw can stop recalls so effectively with the ultimate from such a long distance. I'm disappointed. Sorry, I can hear in your voice. You're disappointed too.
Oh, dude. Okay, Ming with the Wild Growth on top of himself. Forge is still going to run in. Gala is now stepping up. Xiaohao gets dunked into the ground. And in a 5 versus 4, it doesn't matter. Gala cleanses away as this kog'maw's about to explode. As the puppy goes boom, Wei has one more target. Cats versus dogs. Let's be real. dogs are better.
I mean, I'm disagreeing with that statement, but in this game, Gala does win out. Basically just decimates everyone who comes near him. And, you know, if the minions weren't going to do it, they're going to head over and just close out this game. Definitely got a little bit funny at the end for RNG with a 15k gold lead. Easy going to close this one out before it even hits 30 minutes.
I would say clean Aux, of course, the last 5 minutes, probably not so much. But, hey, at the very least, RNG, they wanted dessert before they finished the meal, so... We got a game 1 that was very impressive. The mid-game switched on. A very slow early game of Aux in the first 20 minutes, but as soon as RNG got those picks with Xiaohu, the game came alive.
100%. And I feel like, you know, we saw Xiaohu being the MVP for the previous week. He's doing a pretty good job of maintaining that form in this one. Fantastic performance in the Taliyah, constantly there to block the Rift Herald, finding these picks, and it just feels like RNG are a team where if you make a mistake, you'll lose the entire game. It's like, it doesn't have to be a big mistake. It just has to be a mistake. And you kind of saw that there. AL kept it within touching distance until they didn't. And RNG, all they needed was like one person to be dead, chains into a pick, chains into a Baron, chains into a team fight. And suddenly you're looking at game 2 and going, okay, how did that go wrong?
I can't believe, you know, anyone's legend with... I guess it was a pretty simple early game start, right? Like, we saw lanes losing out, but Forge was in a good position, and Xiaohao was someone who was, you know, keeping the game steady. But it's just a couple of big picks, and RNG always do this, Aux. RNG always do this. Mid-game, something just switches. And as they start grouping up, is it you who said this team has, like, one of the strongest mid-games in the world? I feel like after what we saw at MSI... I think
they have the best mid-game in the world. When they won MSI, they had the best mid-game in the world, right? I will say that without a doubt. They were so fantastic at it. There were so many times where, you know, against top esports, who were one of the strongest early game teams, they were just able to bring it back from that point. And it just feels like there's this period of the game where they're able to trade up when they're behind, or if they're ahead, they're just able to completely take over the game. It's so hard to deal with. Their reads on the map are fantastic. And, you know, Xiaohu's such a big part of that. You know, he is someone who's very vocal in the games, and the way they work as a unit is so effective. So, yeah. You know, I'm going a long way to justify the point, but yeah, they are so good.
I know, but you deserve to do that, right? RNG still, this is why they're on a 6-win streak at the moment. RNG are one of the top teams for a reason, and, you know, Xiaohu, his voice in the team we know is such a big factor. Ming as well, someone who is a veteran. We look at our franchise players of RNG and all the pieces that have come together, that one MSI, now with Breathe added in, and how simple it looks. Xiaohu with the most damage. You're not surprised, Aux. And it's kind of funny that we set up to talk about Gala and Ming on this Lulu cog, but it was Xiaohu who just snuck in and took the shot.
And you see how much damage Xiaohu did there. And I just want to say, like, I don't think you can leave Taliyah open, especially because bear in mind, AL could have first picked it and they didn't, right? This champion has great wave clear, has the ult which can roam but also cut off. And bear in mind, so your ultimate does no damage, and yet Xiaohu did the most damage in the game. You don't even need an ultimate ability doing damage to still just completely do so much more than everyone else. And that's bearing in mind, like, it's not just like a champion who like tickles you and does like a little bit of damage. She can also just like one-shot someone with a seismic shove and unravel earth. So Xiaohu is nuts. This champion is nuts. AL, do not let him get it again. That is a mistake. Yeah, that's all I can say on the subject.
I mean, Xiaohu's 7 games played, now 6 out of 7 wins, too. Xiaohu is an absolute beast on anything that can manipulate the map. And in game 2, as you said, anyone's legend might need to ban that away. And amongst other things, really. Because at this point, anyone's legend backs against the wall here in a series that matters so much. We'll find out if they can get a game, at the very least, right after